What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's college football related, sports related. We have a good time today. We are going to live react to the college football playoff rankings as they go on. My man Reese Davis is over here. The Fighting Reese Davis is on the television, and he is going to walk us through all of this because I'm really amazed at how he does this. But also, I'm interested to see just what the committee chooses to screw up in these rankings because they seem fairly straightforward, and I can't wait to see what curveball they throw at us. So follow along if you are. If not, probably going to chop this up a little bit later on into a much more condensed, edited version of my live reactions as there's some downtime as we talk about what these rankings are going to look like. For instance, if Georgia is really going to be in the top 15, I don't think so, but you never know because their only losses are to Florida and Alabama. Is Coastal Carolina and perhaps Marshall going to break inside that top 15? You never know because they're undefeated, like they're combined 15-0. It's ridiculous. Cincinnati, we're going to wait and see how they get screwed in all of this because I don't think that Cincinnati's going to make it into the top 4 in these initial rankings. And now that Tulsa has had its game canceled against Houston this weekend, they only have to beat Navy to play Cincy twice for the American Championship, back-to-back. Not unlike what Cincy did last year against Memphis when Memphis needed to beat them back-to-back and did to get into the Cotton Bowl. Notre Dame probably ends up as the number 1 team in the college football playoff rankings, at least according to me, because of the undefeated teams that are in Power 5, that are playing a Power 5 schedule. They're the ones with the best win for anybody across college football this year as they beat number 1 ranked Clemson in South Bend. I like seeing the mask on the playoff selection committee. Also, check out the chat for Doc Winston O'Boogie and the exclusive feed for the college football playoff committee at work. Doc, I love you. That's amazing. It is time. I'm here for it. I don't think the Pac-12 is going to get into this thing, but the Ohio State, it has a 72% chance according to the playoff predictor. Oregon's got a 27% chance. USC a 15% chance, and Washington a 1% chance. That's, again, just wild. Like, I expected that to be a little bit higher for Oregon because I thought an undefeated Oregon was going to get all the respect from everybody going into a playoff situation because of what they have done in years past. But apparently, that's just not how it's going to go down this year. Predictor for Cincinnati's 36% that they get into the playoff. BYU at 14%. BYU's getting better odds than Washington and nearly as good odds as USC by the All-State Playoff Predictor. Cincy getting 36% means that perhaps we're going to be talking about Cincy really being the first Group of 5 team to make it into the college football playoff. I would be so here for that, and we would have, Central Florida to thank for laying the groundwork for this because we've been discussing a Group of 5 team making it into the playoff for the better part of 4 years because they went undefeated. So the first are Tulsa at number 25, my alma mater, 5-1. Iowa at 24, Oklahoma State at 23, Auburn at 22, and Marshall at 21. What the hell is Auburn doing in these rankings? For that matter, what the hell is Oklahoma State doing in these rankings? Iowa at 3-2? They're saying that the surprise here is Tulsa. I'm like, Tulsa's had 7 games canceled, including this one against Houston. Then they've beaten 2 top 25 teams. Like, that's ridiculous that they're the surprise here. They've been fantastic this year. Shout out to the alma mater, making it into college football playoff rankings for the first time in its history. That's what Tulsa has just done. Congratulations to them. Haven't played in a conference championship game since 2012 when it was still a member of Conference USA. My God, I graduated grad school in 2012. I graduated from the University of Tulsa in 2010. Ain't been very good for a very long time. Like, very good meaning making the college football playoff rankings or making the conference title game. Coastal Carolina checks in at number 20, 8-0. North Carolina at 6-2, number 19. USC at 3-0 at number 18. Texas getting love at number 17, 5-2. Wisconsin 2-1 at 16. I don't agree. Rank Coastal Carolina ahead of all of these Power 5 teams. Why do we hate these Group of 5 teams so much that are undefeated? Give them an opportunity, dog. I will get to the chat during the commercial break. Just So those of y'all that are in the chat, continue to pump up the chat because I'll get into it. But right now, number 15, Oregon at 3-0. Number 14, BYU at 9-0. Number 13, Iowa State at 6-2. Number 12, Indiana at 4-1. Number 11, Oklahoma at 6-2. Holy smokes. Oklahoma at 6-2, a 2-loss team just outside of the top 10. The playoff committee loves Oklahoma. They love the only one. They love the Sooners. My God. Iowa State beat Oklahoma, and they're ranked 2 spots behind Oklahoma. I don't understand, man. You see the hoodie, and I still don't understand, man. What are we doing here? My God. Miami checking in at number 10, 7-1. Good spot for the Hurricanes. Rhett Lashley's going to be a great Power 5 head coach next year for somebody. Just don't let it be, don't let it be Vanderbilt. Maybe it'll be South Carolina. Maybe that'll be it. Maybe they try to pay him a king's ransom to bring him into Penn State the year after they brought in Kirk Ciarrocca. We'll see. Georgia at number 9, 5-2. We got a top 10 team with 2 losses. What are we doing here? Now, their losses are against one of the best teams in college football, if not the best team in college football, in Alabama. And, of course, Florida, who is an SEC championship game win away from playing in the playoff. Their only loss is Texas A&M. Can't wait to see where Texas A&M falls in all of this, man. Dude, 7 through 25 is showing some love to the eye test, is what it is. It's showing some love to these losses that y'all are taking. The number of 2-loss teams in this thing is ridiculous, guys. Like, what are we doing here? Like, let's take a look at this. We've got 6-2 Oklahoma, that's 1. Iowa State 6-2, that's 2. Georgia at 5-2, that's 3. My goodness, guys. Like, I'm trying to justify these. Auburn at 5-2, that's 4. Oklahoma State at 5-2, that's 5. And Iowa at 3-2, that's 6 teams among the first 18 teams ranked. 19 teams ranked that are 2-loss teams. When we got undefeated SC, we got undefeated, they're ranked though. We got undefeated Washington, we got undefeated Colorado. Like, goodness me here, man. No, I'm misspeaking. We don't have an undefeated SC here. Holy smokes. Number 5, we got Texas A&M. Number 6, we got Florida. That's as it should be, right? That's as it should be. I hate it for Ampersand U, though, because they don't have a way of getting into this playoff without some just mass carnage happening over the next 2 weeks in the SEC. That's just not going to happen. So we got 4, 3, and 2, and 1, guys. Ooh, 1. Alabama at 7-0. Upsets Notre Dame on that spot. Notre Dame's like, what do we got to do? We beat the number 1 team in the country. Who is Alabama beating? More to the point, didn't they give up the booty to Ole Miss? Like, all of it? Goodness me. They're putting a lot onto that Georgia win. Notre Dame at 8-0, as it should be. They're at the number 2 spot. You want that number 1 spot because you know that 4th team is going to be sorry compared to the top 3 teams. That's why we're arguing about who should be number 1. Clemson at number 3. So we would get a rematch and a rematch and a rematch if these rankings held. Notre Dame and Clemson would play each other 3 times in 1 year. Ohio State's at number 4. They're number 4 because of the way they got pushed by Indiana and the way that secondary got exposed. There's no way to get around that, guys. So happy that they went 1 through 25. It's such a better television product. Now you get to have all the discussion about this thing after the fact with various coaches and the like. But I'm interested to see what y'all have to say about this. I'm going to check it out here in just a little bit. Looking at, like, seriously, the idea that you put Notre Dame and Clemson at 2 and 3, Clemson being a 1-loss team inside the college football playoff is ridiculous to me. Straight up. What are we doing? We got undefeated Northwestern if that's what you rank is really good, right? If you're going to put 2 of the same conference in there, you could do that. My goodness, man. Notre Dame would be at 1. Alabama would be at 2. Clemson be at 3 for me. Iowa State doesn't figure in this. Ohio State has an argument with Clemson. Like, didn't they lose to Notre Dame already? What do they got to do? We beat Indiana. Wow. Ohio State getting hosed. Who wins if Georgia and Oklahoma played right now? It's a good question. I like to think that it's Oklahoma now because Georgia can't stop anybody. Georgia was giving it all up to Mississippi State, and Oklahoma's offense is similar to Mississippi State. They can run the ball much better either. man, dude in here saying the Buckeye hate is real. Like, just to some degree, Ohio State get hosed. My goodness. Can't wait to see what the bulletproof vest has to say about this. The guy that's sitting at the chairman's seat for all of this, man. That's going to be really interesting. Oklahoma also living a charmed life. Like, I just don't see it in that Oklahoma would be inside of number 11. That doesn't get me, dog. Let me see. Doc Winslow Boogie says, same as every other year, committee ranks SEC teams as top undefeated, top 1 loss, top 2, etc. SEC teams have had 1 winning postseason record over the last 4 seasons. Doc in there letting y'all know what's really good. 100%. It's great analysis there by Doc. So Ohio State and Northwestern now is a top 10 matchup in the Big Ten championship game, but the 2-loss thing with the SEC plus the 1-loss thing with the SEC means that you got a 1 versus 6 matchup for the SEC championship game, when number 5 is also just going to be like, yo, we only lost to the 1 team and we beat one of those teams that's in the SEC championship game. Really wish y'all would amend the conference schedule rules this year so that we don't have an SEC East versus SEC West champion, but that we have the top 2 in the standings, because A&M would be in this thing again against Alabama. Let me see. David V says, you don't almost lose to Mississippi State, get blown out by both Bama and Florida, and get into the top 10. I'm sorry, but no. Wow. Pat Fitzgerald, have a drink, sir. Wow. Golly. Makes no sense with that. Oh, my God. I feel for Ohio State fans right now because they're putting the screws to Ohio State like they put the screws to Oklahoma in 2018 because, let's face it, your pass defense is on par with Oklahoma's in 2018. But I didn't think that was cool in 2018. I don't think that's cool in 2020. You beat the team. You're undefeated. A 1-loss team should not be ranked ahead of you. That's just facts, dog. Mike Farino jumping in here again. Also, if Clemson is 3, how is ND not 1 with a win against a top 3 team? That was my argument like 6 hours ago, dog. Like, I'm with you on that. That makes all the sense in the world. I don't know what they're looking at, except to say you think that Alabama's just the best team. Goodness me, they're taking it out on y'all north of the Mason-Dixon line. I'm not playing. Like, they're sincerely taking it out. Let's see, Jared Jones in the all caps. I usually don't take on the all caps, dog. You're gonna have to do that regular, right? Because like, I don't really like it when people drop in here with all caps to try to get my attention. I'm not going to address the question, even if it is a good question. So put it in there in some normal type, if that's what you want me to respond to. What else we got in here? All right, let's see how y'all were taking this from the jump. I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the chat. Clemson shouldn't be ahead of Indy. Yeah. As much as I love OU, there's no way they are making a playoff with 2 losses. Sorry, Coach Riley. It's true. Northwesterners playing trestle ball. They are, though, and it's working for them. I just don't think they can do it against Ohio State. Because the thing that gets missed about that Ohio State win against Indiana is they put up 607 yards of offense. Hello? They were running and gunning. Northwestern ain't going to be able to stop that. Not all day. Let me see. What do we got? The committee might put Ohio State at number 5. The hate is real. They put them at 4. Plenty of hate to go around. I hope TAMU gets 36. I meant 6. No, they ought to be 5. Florida has a chance to jump them with a win against Alabama. Georgia bias is insane. It's true. Who are you calling a clown in here, Luke? Chill out. Chill out with that. Also, make sure to tune in to ESPN Radio on Saturday night from like 10 to midnight. I'm doing the show solo, and it's going to be probably college football for like 2 hours straight. It's going to be glorious. National radio for us doing this stuff, man. Let me see. What else we got in here? Dude says, where's OU? Number 11, dog. Georgia has no offensive identity. It's true, but they got one with JT Daniels, right? He passed for over 400 yards. Their offensive identity is now throwing the football. They only handed the ball to Zamir White like 17 times or 15 times in that game against Mississippi State. Jordan, chill out, dog. You not enough with the all caps. The all caps in the chat just gets on my nerves. Y'all got to stop with that. Let me see. Let me see. Clemson bias. Told y'all. Did y'all forget last year they put Penn State ahead of us? I mean, Penn State also was a really good football team last year. They only lost 2 games, right? They only lost 2 games, and they lost to really good competition. Let me see. He says, facts, Trevor wasn't playing. Did you see DJ Uiagalelei threw for 400 yards? Did you see the man threw for like all the yards against Boston College and Notre Dame? He's that good. I feel like the way that people talking about Trevor Lawrence not playing that game is the way that y'all would talk about Jake Fromm didn't play for Georgia if Justin Fields would have played. That's how good DJ is. DJ's going to be a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. Y'all just don't want to believe it. Let me see. RJ, who has Clemson beaten? We beat the top 10 team. They haven't beaten anybody. They're just Clemson. Like, they're finally getting the benefit of the doubt that they claim they don't get, which is, yo, y'all are Clemson. That's why we are talking about you. You made it to the national championship game 3 out of the last 5 years. You've won it. You've gone undefeated once. You won it before that. Like, 2018 team was one of the best all time. That's wild. Okay, so more notes on the college football playoff rankings from the selection show. The initial number 1 seed, that's Alabama this year, has made the college football playoff each of the last 5 seasons, but never won the national championship. Really doesn't mean a good thing for my national championship pick back in January. Number 3 seed, never made college football playoff. That's Clemson, so probably get beat by Notre Dame again in the ACC title game. And the highest non-Power 5 ranking, Cincinnati has the highest Power 5 rank, Cincinnati has the highest college football playoff ranking of any non-Power 5 in the history of the rankings. Holy smokes. Amount of games is greater than the losses, apparently. Golly. Jesse Davin jumping in here, letting everybody know what's really good. Did you hear about the OSU manager who got ribs broken? Yeah, man, that's they need to put those people or arrest the folks that did that. That's we don't do that. No fans do that. Like, I don't ride for that. I don't know any Oklahoma fans that ride for that. That's Bush. No, you go to jail for that. That's assault. Telling you, put me on the playoff committee. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Bo said, run it back for those of us that can't watch. All right, hold up a second, dog. Let me pull them up, make sure I can get back to me, because I want to, you know me and my memory, I might mess it up. You know what I mean? Oh, crap. Hold on. All right, so the playoff rankings for the Week 13, that's November 24th, that is tonight. We're going to go 1 through 25. Alabama at 1, Notre Dame at 2, Clemson at 3, Ohio State at 4, Texas A&M at 5, Florida at 6, Cincinnati at 7, Northwestern at 8, Georgia at 9, Miami at 10, Oklahoma at 11, Indiana at 12. That doesn't make any sense to me. Iowa State at 13, BYU at 14, Oregon at 15, Wisconsin at 16, Texas at 17, USC at 18, UNC at 19, Coastal Carolina at 20, Marshall at 21, Auburn at 22, Oklahoma State at 23, Iowa at 24, and Tulsa, the alma mater, at 25. So that's what it is, Bo. If you were not a member, I would not have run it back in such a way. See, Brendan Ledlow, longtime friend of the channel. If RJ was playoff president, we would be having 2014 playoff. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Right now, it'd be Tulsa looking on the outside in according to these rankings. I don't have any 2-loss teams, man. Not in my top 10. If I run out of good teams that are undefeated with 1 loss, maybe. But goodness me, 2-loss squads? What are we doing? Iowa ranked at 3 and 2 is stupid. It's stupid. Let me see. Yo, Jacob, you can show up here and say that, but guess what? I can do that. Also, who would have guessed at the beginning of the year that Northwestern might save Ohio State strength of schedule? Or Indiana for that matter. Because remember, until Indiana announced themselves over Michigan State, and Penn State's dead bodies, Ohio State's schedule was trash. It was garbage, right? Then again, you expected Penn State, Michigan to be there, and give them a run for their money. And that's just not going to be the case. Let me see. This OSU fan says, give us Bama, look at what we do to them. I don't know, dog. Your secondary is going to get torched. Sean Wade versus Devontae Smith, I'm giving it to Devontae Smith, all right? John Mechie the third versus Seven Banks, I'm giving it to John Mechie. And Marcus Hooker lining up in the slot over Slade Bolton and Marilla Forstall? Yeah, you know who I'm giving that to. Bama going to be working people. Bama going to be working people. You don't want them problems. Not right now. Y'all need to get fixed. Y'all need to get fixed quick, fast, and in a hurry. Because right now, y'all are not looking great. Yeah, Jake Paul, don't spam the chat, dog. You're going to be put in timeout. Good catch, Doc. I hate it when people spam the chat. Don't do that just because you want people to talk about what it is you want them to talk about. Have some humility, Try to give the members as much love as I possibly can. That's what the badges help me identify. The badges help me identify who's a member and not, and that I stop. Tulsa for NIV football edition. NIT. Nah, it's cool. I'm with that. New member, Sean Phillips. What's up? Appreciate you being here, dog. New member, Mike Farino. Thanks for being here, dog. New member, Travis Alexander. Thanks for being here, dog. Appreciate that. Dude said, give us Oregon, if anything, redemption. I'm still not over that kickoff. Are you talking about Auburn? I mean, I think Oregon would stop a mud hole in Auburn and walk them dry. What else we got in here? Sean Stapleton stays in here talking just about insular OU, dog. Talking about Perrion Winfrey and Ronnie Perkins versus Texas. Texas got to beat Iowa State first. And I don't think they can do it. I think Breece Hall's going to run for 200. Sick of the SEC getting much love. Should be Indy, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson. I could even make an argument that Clemson shouldn't even be a top 14, but I don't argue with that ranking at all, except when we get to number 4. 1, 2, and 3, you're good on. T. Parnell, love your channel, RJ. Keep up the good work. Go Bucks from Columbus, Ohio. Appreciate that, dog. Georgia is at 9 to help Alabama's resume. I mean, look, they gonna get Florida. They're gonna get Florida. And Doc hit on this earlier in the chat when he said the SEC bias is real. The top undefeated team, the top 1-loss team, the top number 2 or 2-loss team are all SEC teams. Let's see how we got in here. Izzy Hara. I talked about Caleb Burton last night. You can go check out that segment on the channel. Don't ask me to cover something that I covered, dog. You know I make 1 million videos every day. Is 5DB scheme better than what they're using now? I think he's talking about Ohio State. It depends, right? I think a 5DB scheme is going to help y'all most because you're going to face more 4 pass catching threats in formations than you are going to see 2 tight end sets, right? And even 2 tight end sets, I still don't like splitting out Baron Browning and Pete Warner. You got Tough Borland in the middle there. I like having that 5th DB, but if that 5th DB can't run, you got a problem with cover. Like right now, you got to figure out who your best cover dude is. If it's Sam linebacker, good luck, right? That's Baron Browning. If it's a nickel safety, do that. I think they should be running some version of cover 2 with 5 DBs, though. Put 2 safeties high, drop that safety down in the box, and hope that he can run with the slot receiver or the tight end. That's what I would do. The brands run the top. The brands have always run college football. It's an oligarchy. It's not a democracy. It's an oligarchy. There's only 3 or 4 people that actually do something. Let's see, if Northwestern was in the SEC, they would be top 5. Probably. But there's no amount of mental head wringing that I can do to get my mind wrapped around Northwestern playing an SEC schedule. They get destroyed. Shout out Brendan Abersold. New member to the chat, new member to the channel. Brendan, if I mispronounce your last name, please spell it phonetically in the chat so I don't screw it up later. I like to get the names right whenever I possibly can. Maybe Ohio State is better off running a 5th than an extra in coverage. Long as you put 2 safeties high and give them, halves of the field instead of asking Marcus Hooker to be that dude actually covering the middle, I think you're onto something. Outscoring opponents 33.7. Look. They ain't played nobody. I can't believe we're putting point differentials out there for BYU. They ain't played nobody. Mike Freno back in here again. Would have understood if LSU was first from the get-go, but the flip last moment made no sense. You talk about last year. Jacob Watson, Indy would beat OSU and OU. Okay, so? I mean, y'all might get an opportunity to prove it against Ohio State. Oklahoma's a 2-loss team. Why are they even in your silo? Like, why are they in your head? The rent is free here, huh, Jacob? The rent is free. Okay, just as long as we establish that. Give us BYU or Cincinnati and we'll fix the hype. Oh, okay, Jacob, my bad. That's my fault. All right. My bad, Jacob Watson. That's my fault then. You respond to somebody else. Let me see. Who gets in if ND beats Clemson and Bama beats Florida? If Bama beats Florida, Bama's getting in. Okay? Number 1. If ND beats Clemson, Clemson gets knocked out. And you're probably looking at Cincinnati, right? Or it depends on how close that Big Ten game is between Ohio State and Northwestern. It's an interesting question. I don't think A&M gets in, though. I think an undefeated Cincinnati would get in before a 1-loss Texas A&M. Brooks, I gave thoughts on Michigan over the weekend. You can go check out that upload in the Big Ten recap. Kalani Sitake spent most of his time just ducking Washington. I mean, couldn't be me, dog. Could not be me. He said, give thanks. Would you fire Jim Harbaugh now? Nah, I wouldn't fire him now. It cost me too much money. It's a pandemic. Make him eat these khakis. Jacob Watson asking, Clemson didn't miss all their D players against BC, correct? They didn't have all of them. No, they were missing 3 starters on the defense. But to that end, Alabama was missing 4 in their front 7 against Auburn last year. Most of us still thought Alabama was a really good football team, just got bit by the injury bug. Shout out Bama59, became a member to the channel. He says, as an SEC fan and Bama fan, no way Georgia's the best 2-loss team. I don't even want to argue about the best 2-loss team, man. Golly, these rankings. Because OSU looks awful on defense. I mean, they don't look good on defense. That's for damn sure. Let me see. We should have Sean Wade, Seven Banks, Latham Ransom, Josh Proctor, and Marcus Hooker at DB. I mean, anything that stops you from getting nearly 500 thrown on you. Does UNC have a chance? Hell no. Miami got a better chance than UNC. Not to say UNC is not a good football team. They are. Specifically at tailback and at quarterback. I mean, you could also make that argument with Daz Newsome at wide receiver. They're a good offensive team. I understand Clemson is good, but they lost to ND. No, it's facts. It's facts. You ain't even got to understand. It's facts. Let me see. Case and Goins. What's OU's biggest worry on offense beyond Eric Swinson in general? Injuries, pandemic, and Creed regressing. Nah, that's basically it. Like, well, despite being down, I thought that Seth McGowan was playing well when Marcus Major and TJ Pledger were not. TJ Pledger was playing well when they were not. And Ramondre Stevenson has been on a warpath since coming back. And Rattler's been who I expected him to be. He's just as good and just as green as I thought it would be. The offensive line was doing its job the whole season. Then you could talk to me about how good OU might be. I didn't count on the offensive line not being the strength of this OU football team because you return so much. Let me see. Mike Freno says, got to go. Have a great day. Thanksgiving all. Hey, yeah. Appreciate you coming through. Why y'all hate A&M? Because y'all cocky and arrogant. And he ain't won anything since 1939. That's why. Y'all the most, the talkingest, mostest dudes on the face of the earth. College football earth. Can't stand y'all. Tried to take Kyler Murray's Heisman. Can't stand y'all. Y'all ran Kevin Murray off. Can't stand y'all. No. Just all that oil money that came through Houston, y'all talking all that game, ain't won nothing. Let's see. So I know most people were talking about how Clemson was missing so many people. And Indy's close game to Louisville, but Bama had a close one to Ole Miss, OSU, Indiana, and so on. I talked about those things. I talk about those things every day. Watch the channel every day. You'll hear me talk about those things. I appreciate the apology for spamming. Thank you. Let me see. How would you feel about Texas A&M versus Oklahoma at Cotton Bowl? We did it in 2012. I'd rather see Georgia, but I'll take it. Might actually be... no, Florida's going to get that other... They're going to get probably the Orange Bowl. No, the Orange Bowl's in the rotation. Sugar Bowl. Now, Sugar Bowl's in the rotation. Which game is not in the rotation? Cotton Bowl's not in the rotation. Rose Bowl is in the rotation. Cotton Bowl. I thought the Cotton Bowl was... Nah, Cotton Bowl's out of the rotation this year, I guess. Notre Dame at UNC, 2:30 on ABC. Indy ought to win, but UNC could turn that into a ball game. Oh, okay. I got you, Jacob. It's just the badge. My eyes get drawn to the badge, so I end up addressing your question or whatever. Thoughts on a possible OU versus Oregon Bowl game? I remember 2006, and I would never let it go. Alan Patrick holding the ball up like this. I remember. If Iowa State beats Texas, do they jump into the top 10? According to these jokers, they do. Notre Dame's going to have to win out. It's the most. Zach Ball, appreciate you. Welcome to the community. Let me see. RJ, do you think we get OU in New Year's 6, or do you think another team in the Big 12 has potential? I think the Big 12 champion is going to get into the New Year's 6 Bowl. If that's Iowa State, Texas, or Oklahoma, there you go. Which Pac-12 school would make the playoffs? The undefeated one that wins the Pac-12 championship? Okay. I think we got the Iron Bowl coming up this weekend. That ought to be fun, even as Alabama's like a 23-point favorite. And the team that they're playing with this year isn't as hurt as the one that they played with last year. Mac Jones very much assumed that. I think they're going to run roughshod. Notre Dame might be in a game with UNC. We'll see. Texas Iowa State is probably going to be closer than people think, though I'm going to be watching a lot of Breece Hall to see what that looks like. Those are the three main games that I'm paying attention to on the schedule this week. I'm really excited about those. I know that Oklahoma plays West Virginia, but, whatever. I'll watch it. I'll watch it, but it ain't one of the games of the week. With that, I do think I'm going to kick it and let y'all go. Going to try to do this each week that we have the college football playoff selection ranking show. I thought this first one went off really, really well. I thought the chat, for the most part, was really good. I appreciate all of you for coming through. And please, if you like the videos, like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're pushing towards 60,000. I think we're going to go over 57,000 overnight, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Download the RJ Young Show podcast, wherever it is you get your podcast. You can rate that podcast, trying to push that to 300 reviews. So far, there are 280 ratings. I would really appreciate it if you check that out. You can download that with straight up no ads. So you can find this podcast on it as well, with all of my talking over myself and forgetting that USC is ranked and all that good stuff. Kyle Million, yes, you can get a shout out on your birthday. Happy birthday to you. With that, let me see. Doc came through here. He said 400 plus in the chat. You guys are awesome. You can help this channel out by smashing the like button, hit the subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Amen to that. I will check y'all out tomorrow. Deuces.